Hi, this is our first video in the Positive Intelligence series. We work through, a program for you to get the best out of it. So what is positive intelligence? Well, it's some research done by Shirzad Chamine, and it's all about understanding levels of mental fitness, right? And mental fitness is defined, in the book as the percentage of time the mind is being positive, which allows it to flourish, as opposed to being negative, which leads to poor performance and mental stress. So the book is a great book. It's easy to read. Suggest you do that. And what they've done out of it is they've collated all this research and they've created terms for the positive mental states, which they've called SAGEs, and then the Saboteurs are our negative mental states. And then we'll talk about what they really mean. And they measure positive intelligence by calling it PQ, right? Which is your positive intelligence quotient, a bit like IQ and EQ, and there must be some other Qs I don't know about. All right, but what it really measures is the proportion of time you spend in SAGE, which is positive, versus Saboteur, which is negative mindsets, right? And so if you've got a higher PQ, you sell more, your teams perform better, you have much faster medical diagnosis, you're 3 times more creative, and you're a lot happier, according to the research. And so if we look at it, there are 2 sides of this positive intelligence, right? And what we call is the survivor brain and then the PQ brain, right? And so let's talk about the survivor brain, because it's what drives a whole heap of this stuff, right? So it's in your brainstem and your limbic system. It's basically your left brain, right? And its focus is survival. And we'll talk about where this survival mechanism came from, but it's voice in your head. Those voices you get in your head are saboteurs, right? And the emotions that connect to those saboteurs are anxiety, anger, disappointment, shame, guilt, regret, and blame. And there's probably more, right? And so they're all the negative things, and they're essentially hardwired into us from when we were children and we're trying to survive. And we'll talk more about this later on in the presentation. The PQ brain on the other side, which is our positive brain, is what we call the middle prefrontal cortex. It's our empathy circuitry, and it's largely our right brain, right? And what this does is about thriving. Okay, so it's about that sage voice, that wise sage voice in our head, and the emotions that come with it are curiosity, compassion, joy, creativity, peace, and calmness, that calm resolve. And so it's about thinking through and understanding how these things impact us. All right, so the sages, just so we're clear on them, are empathy, understand yourself and others and the connections between you, innovate or innovation, take the existing and make it better through increased awareness and perspective. Navigation, it's about discerning positive pathways ahead. Exploration, it's about deep insight. The knowledge and will to explore the information you've learned on your journey and to reflect on it in an objective way. And the last one is activate, is about awakening that sleeping giant, is about making the most of what you've given, but clear, calm, headed action, or that's calm, clear-headed action even. All right, so it's about that process of doing that sort of stuff. Now, the flip side, and just if we just go back a second, these 2 sides here, I refer to the survivor brain as our child brain, right? Because a lot of it was created in our childhood. And the PQ brain is our positive brain. I call that our adult brain, and that's the adult brain that we think of. And so our saboteurs live in the adult brain. Our sages live in the adult brain, but the saboteurs live in our child brain, right? And there are 10 saboteurs, but the judge is the master saboteur. It's the saboteur that we all have. No matter who you are, what you do, there's a part of us that the judge fits in there. And he or she or they are the person that finds fault with self, others, events and circumstances. So it finds fault with yourself, with them, and with others, right? With other things, all right? And the judge is the source of most of our unhappiness, anxiety, anger, disappointment, guilt, and shame. It also triggers the other saboteurs. So it's that negative voice in your head that says, I'm not good enough, he's not good enough, she's not good enough, that's not good enough, all right? And we all have it. No matter who you are, you have it, and the judge is in there, but we learn to deal with it in different ways. And then the judge has some accomplices, all right? And if you think about the motivation of each saboteur, they're either autonomy, attention, or security based, so they're focused on motivated by those things. And their style is either assertive, it's about earning stuff, or it's about avoiding, right? And so we end up with these 9 saboteurs. So in total, we end up with the 10 saboteurs. We end up with the judge, finds fault with others, things, or circumstances. We end up with the victim, focus on painful feelings as a way of earning empathy and attention. We end up with a pleaser, pleasing, flattering, rescuing others, all about gaining acceptance. An avoider, procrastinate or to avoid difficult tasks or conflicts, focus on the pleasant stuff. The stickler, so that need for perfection, order, and organisation. Restlessness, never at rest or content with what is, needing perpetual busyness. Controller, need to control situation and bend others to their own will. So at the high end, we really want to do that, and it's often anxiety based or fear based. I think about it. Hyperachiever, we're dependent on achievement for self-acceptance and self-love. The hyper-rational, very rational processing of everything, including relationships. And then hyper-vigilant, the vigilant that can never rest, seeing danger in every step. Okay, so they're the 10 saboteurs. So where do these saboteurs come from? Well, the saboteurs start off as guardians to help us survive real and perceived threats to our physical and emotional well-being as children. So as adults, we no longer need them, but they have become the invisible inhabitants of our mind. So our saboteurs' patterns of thinking, feeling, reacting become soft-coded into our brain through our neural pathways. Now, when these pathways are triggered, we're hijacked by our saboteurs and we instantly feel, think, and act using their patterns. As I've said, I see the sage as our adult brain, whereas the saboteurs are our child brain. And you might think, well, hang on a second, I had a brilliant childhood. I had no threats, no anything. Why would I have these saboteurs? It's because they're perceived threats to us as children, right? So as children, we're innocent and we're not knowing, and therefore we see lots of things as threats. And it could be something as simple as you're the only child and there's another baby coming into the family, and you start thinking, will they have enough love for me? Will there be enough love to go around? All right, and then you put mechanisms in place to protect yourself from that perceived threat. Yeah, and this carries on all through our life. Okay, so the argument is, but aren't they good for me? Well, your saboteurs will claim they're good for you. For example, your judge constantly tells you, that about you making mistakes and shortcomings, and that causes you to want to improve and achieve. And we all know that pain is good for you. If you put your hand on a hot stove, it would be good to feel the pain, so you take corrective action, right? So you put your hand over the heat and you pull your hand away quickly, right? But negative emotions, similar to pain, are only helpful for a quick second to alert you. If you stay stressed, frustrated, or unhappy, you'll be tunnel visioned and not capable of finding out the best solution to the problems, which your positive brain can do. So if you're in a negative emotion for more than 1 second, then your saboteurs are holding your hand on the hot stove, and then you're complaining while life is so hard. All right. So often we think they're good. They're good for a short dose, but then they've done their job, and we need to move into our positive brain. All right. So that's a quick overview of sages and saboteurs. We're going to get a little bit more detail as we go. So what are the next steps here? So the next step for you in this process, if you haven't already done so, is simply to understand your PQ score and your saboteurs. So use the links below and do these 2 assessments. The first one is of your PQ score assessment, which will tell you how much of your time you spend in that positive mindset versus the negative mindset. And then the last one then will tell you what are your primary saboteurs. Okay, so take the test, get an understanding of your PQ score and your saboteurs, and then log on to the next video where we'll work through what the heck you do with those things. Okay. As usual, if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Really happy to help you out. Have a great day. Cheers.